Hello, this is Luminousz Star. Welcome to the Luminousz Star channel. All of my current subscribers, thank you guys and gals so much for your subscription. And I also want to welcome everyone who is visiting for the first time to the Luminousz Star channel. If you should become a part of our Star family, please click the notification bell. And of course, we welcome you with open arms. Today's video is about the relationship with the narcissist is a fairy tale that they sold to you. Please mind the description box below for further details to today's video. Don't forget to like and or share today's video. Topics of discussion. Let the games begin. Identify the hidden agendas of the narcissist. Devaluation, discard, and hoovers are strategized, timed, and planned by narcissists. Third and final topic. Narcissists are supplied by repeatedly breaking your heart. First point, while the narcissist wears his or her mask in the beginning of the relationship, more than likely this is when the love bombing will take place. Many narcissists and or cluster B personality types are notorious for being very clever with seducing and charming others. He or she has a pattern of idealizing their targeted prey. Narcissists often recycle romantic partners for long periods of time. Okay, so one of the things that narcissists do is when they go to another or when they have new supply, often the new supply has been in the picture for a little while. And of course, this is unbeknownst to the ex. Okay, so by the time the devaluation has taken place onto the discard, the narcissist and cluster personality, they already have the new supply in their life. In the beginning of the relationship, the narcissist and cluster personality, they start with playing games because they are already wearing the mask. Okay, and I know a lot of people, they meet somebody for the first time, and of course they want to put on their best face forward and they want to present themselves in the most positive way. Okay, this is natural, this is understandable. However, when we're talking about the narcissist, he or she takes this game to another level. The narcissist and the cluster personality, they have several false self-images, from being a victim who can't seem to catch a break to a saint and a martyr, someone who's just perfect and the best of the best. So the narcissist and cluster personality, of course, they want you to treat him or her very special. However, when the mask is still on, he or she comes off as perfect. They come off as very special. They come off as someone who seemingly to you may be heaven sent. The love bombing takes place. The charm, the seduction. They have a lot of swag at this point. So behind all the swag, he or she may be very hard to see as a manipulator, as a person who is playing your heart as well as your mind. Let's move forward. During the love bombing stage, which precedes discard, most do not clearly see that devaluation is sure to come. Many who are victim to this shenanigan have no concept of the predatory nature of narcissists and or cluster personality types. Their secret vow to never love anyone for any reason anymore, which explains their lack of empathy when the romance has turned sour. Okay, so a lot of people, they're not ready. They're not ready for this. What the narcissist and cluster personality has in mind, their big trick bag of abracadabras, a lot of people are not ready for. So it is during the love bombing stage with the cluster personality and our narcissist that a lot of people often think that they have a soulmate or a twin flame. They also think that they have found someone who is the one. This is very often the case. A lot of people, they have no idea about the predatory nature of the narcissist and or cluster B personality type of whom they are involved with. Many of us were not with the narcissist and or cluster B personality the moment that they took that secret vow to never love anyone anymore for any reason. A lot of us don't know the story behind the story about their detaching from that part of themselves that will enable them to feel empathy or deep connection, if not love, with other people. So by the time the romance turns sour or it's a bad romance, a lot of people are not ready for what comes next, and that's the devaluation. Let's move forward. By mimicking, studying, and hijacking the identities of their romantic targets, narcissists often plan and strategize their discard, devaluation, and hoovers shortly after the first hello. Due to studying their romantic partners, narcissists might seem to have a sixth sense as to what emotional red buttons to push to influence pain and pleasure. This is often why narcissists seem to know exactly what to say, if not what to do, in order to influence pain and pleasure in another person. A lot of people find this to be a mystery. This is often because they are unaware that they are being studied. Therefore, the narcissist is very successful in mimicking their romantic partners. Then they can hijack their identities. And of course, they do this all for the new supply. And of course, they do this for the purpose of engaging, if not ensnaring, the new supply. The narcissist does all of this for sport. They do it for fuel. They do it for control. Ultimately, they do it for the narcissistic supply. Narcissists and cluster personalities, they often plan and they strategize when and how they're going to discard, devalue, and hoover the person back in. They often like to recycle their romantic partners in order to keep the supply plentiful. So narcissists and cluster personalities, they are notorious for going from one ex to the next. Okay, and then back again to the ex. And we're going to get into triangulation here, but I really wanted to point this out because narcissists and cluster personalities are notorious for having more than one romantic partner at a time. And all of this is to keep the narcissistic supply plentiful. In order to master recycling his or her exes, narcissists must become very clever with executing when and how to hoover them back in. Due to obsession and or addiction to the narcissist, most do not know the half of how diabolical certain tactics of some pathological narcissists can become in order to manipulate romantic situations his or her way. Okay, so narcissists and cluster personality, they will do whatever is necessary in order to obtain a narcissistic supply. This does not exclude romantic situations. So in order to master recycling his or her exes, they have to become very clever with how and when to hoover them back in. So some narcissists and cluster personalities, they are aware how badly their romantic partners has it for him or her. So some romantic partners may behave codependently. Therefore, they may also be obsessed with the narcissist. They may also be addicted to the dysfunctional romantic relationship with him or her. This is often the case. Narcissists and cluster personalities, unfortunately, they milk it for what it is worth. Narcissists and cluster personalities are also notorious for manipulating romantic situations in his or her favor. Let's move on. Drama can be the middle name of some pathological narcissists. Therefore, the more the better. Once discarded for the new supply, he or she looks for narcissistic supply via triangulation by covertly hoovering the ex back in to be recycled for further future narcissistic supply. Any signs of the ex having a broken heart over the narcissist is often a sign of victory to the false self-images of him or her. This may sound pretty diabolical, if not sadistic. A lot of narcissists and cluster personalities, they like to kick up the drama. So when they are scoping for a new supply, currently they are involved romantically with several people. In order to keep the supply plentiful, they recycle all their exes while they continue to pursue new supply romantically. The triangulation comes in when the current or the primary romantic supplier of the narcissist is being devaluated. They're being discarded. So what the narcissist does is they would use covert measures to devalue the current supply and bring the new supply to the forefront, or they pay more attention to the new supply, and they begin to love bomb the new supply. They begin to love bomb the new supply at the same time devaluating the current supply. This is how the triangulation is baited, set up to be executed or carried out. This is also why the narcissist and cluster B personality likes to influence their exes to become reactionary, because this is a sign to him or her, or to their false self-image, that this ex still has it bad for him or her. Therefore, they can still control him or her. Therefore, they can still milk them for more narcissistic supply. So any signs of the ex having a broken heart over the narcissist is a sign of victory to him or her. This crazy making is usually not detected by the discarded romantic partner until the narcissist's new supply has also been detected. As long as the narcissist is provided signals that their ex still cares for them, the narcissist knows that they have a very good chance to convince their ex to give them another chance to come back into their life. Next point. The vicious cycle of prowling, preying, idealizing, devaluating, discarding, hoovering, and recycling begins again. Due to codependent behavior, denial, obsession, and addiction to sabotage, it is understandable how some find it very challenging to see the ultimate hidden agenda of narcissists. Okay, so that ultimate hidden agenda of narcissists can vary from one narcissist or cluster B personality to the next. So I'm not going to touch that one in this video. I will say that due to codependent behavior, some who are romantically involved with narcissists and cluster B personalities, they are in denial. Sometimes they are obsessed, and sometimes they are addicted to sabotage. Okay, that means they are addicted to emotional pain. The narcissist and cluster B personality, usually they are a codependent's best supplier when it comes to delivering emotional pain. One other thing that some who behave codependently do is when it comes to the narcissist and cluster B personality, they have what you call false assumptions. Okay, they think, for instance, they think that the narcissist and or cluster B personality can know exactly what they need in the romantic relationship. They should know what they want, and this doesn't help him or her. The narcissist and cluster B personality will take advantage of that. They will play as if they have no idea of what they're doing in the relationship to hurt their partners. In other words, they will shut down. This is often why some who behave codependently and who are involved romantically with narcissists and cluster B personalities, when they try to resolve issues in the relationship, nothing gets resolved because he or she is not being validated, nor are they being heard by the narcissist or cluster B personality. Let's move forward. Tool number 1, take steps to remember that the narcissist is more than likely an imposter of those who are much better suited for you. Narcissists and cluster B personality types do not invest in healthy relationships, therefore engage in many toxic relationships that are more than likely very shallow and superficial. Okay, so narcissists and cluster B personalities, usually they do pass themselves off like someone else that they're not. They're like an imposter. So this person, right from the beginning, the relationship was pretty much a lie, because the narcissist, first of all, has false self-images. They're not going to show you who they really are. This usually comes later when the mask starts to slip off. This is usually when their false self-images are threatened, if not challenged, by you. And this can be intentionally or not intentionally. So take steps to remember that the narcissist more than likely is an imposter of a person who is much suited for you for romance. Okay, they're a lot better for you. So those who are more suited for you, you can have a positive relationship with him or her. Whereas with the narcissist, the relationship at best is going to be dysfunctional. So just remember, the narcissist is more than likely like an imposter of a person who is better suited for you when it comes to romantic relationships. Some narcissists and cluster personalities, they are so good with mimicking others that some of their partners really think that the narcissist is a soulmate or a twin flame, whereas the narcissist has no interest in being anyone's soulmate, let alone their twin flame. Narcissists often engage in dysfunctional and toxic relationships. They tend to be more superficial and shallow in nature. Next tool. Build and work a support base in order to help you thrive past this very painful time. After the romance with the narcissist is over, understand that there may be times of sadness, anger, and confusion. Balance authenticity with positivity when you see and or hear things that are negative about you pertaining to the narcissist smear campaign. So more than likely the smear campaigning is coming. When the narcissist is love bombing the new supply, as I stated, very often the one who is being devalued, they're going to have the smear campaign done against him or her. The narcissist and clustering personality often likes to shake the confidence of the partner who is being devalued. This is often why some feel very jealous, if not envious, of the new supply. Some become so obsessed with the reality that the narcissist has new supply that he or she may start to show up at their job. They may go to their homes or their house or their apartment, their condo. They may begin to check out the new supply on social media. So when it turns into a bad romance, it can be a very dark time and it can be a very painful time. So make sure you have a support base in order to help you to thrive past that. The smear campaign more than likely is coming. This is not to discourage anyone watching this video. This is just something that usually happens. I just want to suggest to my stars especially to prepare yourself for this. One of the best ways that you can prepare for this is to have that support base. It is best to have a support base whereas you can constructively express what you are experiencing. You're going to have those times where you're going to feel some very unpleasant emotions such as sadness and anger. You may be in a state of confusion from time to time because the narcissist is starting to hoover you back in. First they love bomb, then they devalued, then they discarded, in order to try to hoover you back in. So that's very confusing, especially when they have new supply. But as I stated, the new supply usually was around the narcissist for a little while. It's just that once you have been devalued and discarded, then the new supply was detected by you, when all the while they probably were there in the narcissist's life. Final tool. Celebrate your appealing traits while taking the time to get to know yourself better as a person. Understand that the narcissist mimicked you while creating a false identity or character of you in order to suit him or her when the dysfunctional relationship was active. Idealizing others in the beginning of the romance is what narcissists are notorious for. Okay, so as I stated before, the idealization happens very early on in the game. The narcissist puts on all the charm, the seduction, and the swagger that he or she can muster up. They're trying to reel you in. The narcissist has to entice the new target, okay, or the new supply. When they mimic you, 9 times out of 10 chances, they're going to behave like you in order to attract the new supply. Okay, I get it. It sounds disgusting, okay? But just think about it for a minute. You have a lot of appealing traits. The narcissist and clustering personality sees that. They have to start acting like you. I want to share a secret with you. This is the #1 reason why they kept you around for so long. It wasn't their swagger. It wasn't the house. It wasn't the car. It wasn't the money. And it wasn't anything else. Okay? What they showed you was you. Okay? Let that one sink in for a minute. all of your appealing traits, the narcissist mimicked you, hijacked your identity, and presented you to you. So every time the narcissist and cluster B personality was charming, they were pleasant, and you felt like you were loved, you were loving yourself. It was just being portrayed to you via the narcissist and cluster B personality. In other words, they were behaving like you in order to keep you trapped. Some of you may have thought and felt that when the narcissist came around, the cluster B personality came around, that you met, finally, Miss Right or Mr. Right, when actually they had mimicked you so well, they presented you to you, and they manipulated you into thinking that everything that you love and you like about them belongs to them, when actually it's your appealing traits that they mirrored back to you. Think of how a predator studies the prey. They figure out what trap to use in order to bait and ensnare the targeted prey. Narcissists often, they go about the romantic situation the same way. They study the prey. They mimic him or her. And then when they go on to new supply, they behave like you in order to attract the new supply. Because if their mask slips off right out the gate, they're not going to seem to have anything appealing about him or her to keep anyone around, let alone attract them. Narcissists often recycle romantic partners. One of the ways that they are successful is to engage in the diabolical tactic that I just described. They mimic and hijack the appealing traits or identities of their current romantic partners. So when they go out and try to find new partners or new supply, they behave like you or all of their other romantic partners who have appealing traits. Narcissists and cluster B personalities have a predatory nature. That alone should let you know that they're not very pleasant people or have very pleasant appealing traits. The cluster B personalities, they were false. They were phonies. They were like imposters right from the beginning. That was their main game. Okay, and unfortunately, a lot of us, we overlook that particular diabolical tactic. And that is how they mimic us so well that they show us our appealing traits. And we think it's them and it's us. Okay, having said all that, I want to go ahead and let everyone know the references and resources are in the description box below. Please look for them there. I'm Luminousz. I want to thank everyone for joining me today and tonight, and wherever you may be right now. Of course, I wish you the very best love possible. Until next time, stay tuned for more vlogs and stay tuned for more videos. Okay, stars, while I'm done with the videos, I just wanted to end it by showing you my pasta salad real quick. Okay, here's my pasta salad. Okay, so here's my pasta salad. And I have added, see, I was trying to make it a little fancy for you all, with the little lemons and lime on the side. But you can also make this salad any kind of way you like. So of course, you can use any kind of pasta you like. Now what you see on the top there is dill weed seasoning, but of course you can use any seasoning you like, as well as any type of pasta you like. And I've added to my pasta frozen green peas, corn, bell peppers, and onions. Now you can find in the description box below the entire list of this recipe.